I'm going to be testing some Arbor Master. This is older Arbor Master. I think I purchased it in 2012. It was called Bigfoot. And it has, as you can see, 8 strands for the core. It's a 16 braid polyester nylon arborist climbing line. But also, if you can see this, in the 16 braids, in each braid it's got 4 monofilament strands that go through the braids as well. I believe this is the 8,100 pound strength. Now it gets a little confusing because you'll take the other Arbor Master climbing line, and this one has 6,500 pound strength. It does not have the monofilament, and when you pick up the climbing line, you can tell a difference in kind of the stiffness and such. But this also has a nylon polyester makeup, but it's got 6 strands inside the core. And what I'm going to do is test the Arbor Master in a bridge configuration without the core. But I'm using a used Tree Motion harness, Arbor Master with the core removed. I've put it on a typical sized ring so that it's just like what people would normally use. Now this was given to me as a very used harness, and it's already done a ton of testing and pulling, and as a testament to the strength of all of these straps, nothing so far has failed on this harness. And I have, as you guys know, broken a lot of stuff on this. So you can say lots of good things about the harness. So we're going to give this a pull. Okay, that appeared to break right at the double overhand knot. And it broke at 3,937 pounds. This was turned around upside down so we can see the knots on the top. I think that would be more fun. This one broke at 4,184 pounds. Okay, this is an observation, and this time, this is a double overhand knot on this side, and I've tied a Stevedore knot on this side. And the reason being, I just wanted to see if it made a difference with where this breaks. It always, it's going to break at the knot, but it seems to be breaking also when it comes through the eye of the D-ring there. And so I'm wondering if that will put a little bit more of the tension further away from the normal breaking point, or the tighter bend further away from the normal breaking point. I always give these a bit of pre-tension. These are just tied, dress, and set. But I'll give it some pre-tension and then do the full pull. But you can see these knots after they've broken. Okay, this is the side that didn't break, and it seems like they always break on this side. There's a little bit more corrosion on. I'll show you this after I break this maybe. But that's what the this is what the knot looks like before it's been tensioned. And this is what the knot, same knot, what that looks like after it's gone through, in this case, 4,184 pounds. So you would never get that untied. Okay, that is kind of interesting, because in this case, the Stevedore didn't break on this side. And while I'm pulling this out and I'm thinking about it, this is, if you get some corrosion in here, it can sharpen or roughen these edges. And so I'd probably watch for any corrosion that's starting to develop on that eye. But, so this is the double overhand that broke on the other side this time. We broke at 4,451 pounds. Interesting little curve on that too. Okay, this time I've taken off that double overhand and I put a Stevedore on both sides. Okay, that's pre-tensioned with about 200 pounds. This one broke at 4,512 pounds. This is just another observation. You can see where that knot gets rock hard and tightens all down, gets much smaller. But there's nothing surprising about it. It just breaks at the knot. You don't have a core that slips out of the cover and all of that. And with the Stevedore, it seems like we're getting a little more strength off of those brakes. And again, this is old rope. This is 2012. I've used it a considerable amount. It's not brand new rope. Once again, tied with a Stevedore on both sides. So again, with the Stevedore, you can see that it's got, I mean, you have the bend, of course, from the plate, but you have a straight shot all the way through 2 wraps before it takes its first full bend. I think that adds to the strength. Oh, and I'm going to put pre-tension, and then when I pre-tension this to 200 pounds, I will mark where the tails are, and then we'll see where that mark goes. All right, that's tension to 200 pounds. We'll mark where the tail is. And there's nothing special in these tails. There's no sewing, there's no super glue. All I did is wrap electrical tape. No core, just electrical tape. Alright, I'm going to have to dissect this to find the tail, or the mark on the tail. So this broke at 4,446 pounds. Okay, after cutting this open, this is where it was after the pull, and this is where the tail was before the pull. You can see the mark there. So it pulled in about an inch or 25 millimeters. is how much of that tail got pulled into the knot before failure. And this one, I'm just pulling this apart, but this is where it ended up. And here's the other mark right there. So again, that got pulled, that's where it ended up, and that's where it started. That was about 25 millimeters or an inch as well. All right, I'm back to doing this one with double overhand knots on both sides. And again, I'll mark it. All right, that's 200 pounds. I'm gonna back it off and we're gonna mark everything. This broke at 4,307, pretty clean break. All right, observation, this is how much got pulled out of the knot. Pretty much the same on both sides. And we'll cut it open again and see, I'll bet you it's so this was how much got pulled out of the knot. And I just untied this, but I put it back. But you can see where I had marked it right there. And again, there was a bit that got pulled in, but not much. And let's see what it did on the other side. So on this one, that's how much got pulled out of the knot. And I will have to cut this one open. So that's where it is right now. Let's find the mark. Well, there's the mark right there. It just barely got pulled in at all. The kind of mark gets messed up a little bit, but hardly got pulled in at all. And this is older Arbor Master as well. And I've used it for some rigging. Actually broke it once. I'm not using new rope. I'm not certifying anything. I'm just doing some practical testing. This one broke at 4,146 pounds. All right, this has been tied with Stevedore on both sides. Alright, this one broke at 3,820 pounds. Okay, double overhand knot on each side. This one was 43.65. Double overhand stopper knots each side. This one went at 44.24. you can see some scuffing and some corrosion right in here, where on the other one it's a little smoother right there. And just that bit of difference can make a few £100 when it comes to breaking the rope. Now in this next one, I'm going to swap these just to make sure it's not a gravitational pull from the North Pole. Alright, double overhand knot on each side. Turn it over. £4,512. So, double overhand, Stevedore, and of course, what could be complete without beating the death of this little CT rolling lock that's already had the crap pulled out of it a whole bunch of times. Interesting enough, look what side it broke on. Well, pretty interesting. 4,008 pounds. And you can see where the CT roll and lock, it went to about 1,000 pounds, and then it slipped. Engaged the roll and lock, which broke at 3,000 pounds, dropped back down to the bridge, and then the bridge did its thing and the knot and broke at 4,000 pounds. Okay, so the roll and lock got jammed in the D. There we go. The side plate came off of it. And on the rope, you can see where it was squeezed pretty hard. And there's some abrasion on the side of the rope. And that's about when the roll and lock let go, came back down, hit the end of the knot. You can see where all this is flattened down a little bit. And then down at this end is where the knot broke. And so here's the other end of the knot where it broke at 4,000 pounds. So that came loose, and then the side plate. Well, I think the CT roll knock has finally seen its day.